Welcome to episode 4 of Meet the Band. We're sitting here with Tseje. You're the vocalist and lyricist of the band. So what made you decide to become a vocalist?
Good question as a starter, because there's two things. There's me starting to take vocal classes, and there is me going for being a vocalist. So the first thing was, of course, taking the classes, and that has a particular reason. I go to metal concerts for years since I was 16. But I started coming back with no voice and a hoarse throat, so I said, I'm going to take vocal classes to at least be properly singing along with the bands that I'm watching.
Okay.
And that helped. So I learned how to grunt and scream in a proper way to still be able to speak the day after going to a show. But then, at some point, you realize that you can do something with your voice. Mm-hmm. That is something nice. So I was open to doing this in a group, not a band to begin with, but just starting with a group, a bit of jamming, and then once I started doing that, I was in a small group in Herentals where we just jammed every Sunday, and that's how it all started.
Okay. So
the initial goal was not being in a band, actually.
But you ended up in a band anyway, so how did you end up in A Goat as Our Shepherd?
It's actually my vocal teacher back then. It's Nikki Dirks, who now has the extreme vocal coaching as a job or side job, I don't know. She said, there's a guy who I know from the past, and he is starting a new band. They need some vocals, and I think you might be able to do what they're looking for. Okay. So contact Stig. Back then it was Mr. Stan de Kok. So I reached out and said, I heard you guys need a vocalist. I want to give it a try.
Okay.
I did 2 auditions for them. They made me write 2 songs with my own lyrics. And then, after a few days, they said, okay, let's work together. And there I was, being the vocalist of A Goat as Our Shepherd. So, yeah.
Okay, great. But aside from the vocalist, you're also a lyricist. So you write the lyrics of the band. And do you have a creative process, or where do you get your inspiration from?
There's no fixed creative process behind this. The important thing, like you heard from Stig as well, is I got to do this alone as well. And there is no multitasking while writing lyrics. You can't be at work and suddenly I'm gonna write a lyric now for 15 minutes. That's not how it works. You dedicate the time that you need to actually start writing until you're in the mood, and then inspiration comes itself. Where do I get my inspiration? I always start from the music. So it rarely happens that I just come up with some lines and start making lyrics. That's not how it works. I need to listen and feel the music first, then think for myself, what do I feel when I hear this? And then I start thinking about the themes that fits with the band name, A Goat as Our Shepherd. And then it comes automatically. Once you have your topic, inspiration comes from itself. It can take a few hours. It can take a few whiskeys and beers, but in the end, there are lines on the paper, so that works. Okay,
so you write the lyrics, so you know the band quite well, but what do you think is unique about this band?
That's a good one. Unique is definitely the constellation of the band itself, how we started working together as a group, creating and making music. We're not a group of teenagers who had fun and then said, okay, let's start a band now, let's start jamming together. I think mainly triggered by Stig, we were looking for good musicians who can do what exactly we are looking for. And that's also what we found. So from the moment that we get together and start making music, everybody is with their A level playing what they need to play. There is no much, let's say, making fun or fooling around when we're in the rehearsal room. It's always, okay, we're going to play this. This is the set list. And when those guys appear, everybody can do what they're expected to do. So It's actually a cooperation on a high level, speaking musically. Yeah.
Okay. So, you do both things. You're the vocalist and the lyricist. But what do you like the most? Do you more like the creative side or more performing live?
Oh, definitely performing live.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Yeah. No, I get most energy from watching the crowd interact with your music and do some crowd control. I think when you ask most vocalists, practically all of them will say, okay, if you have a crowd that responds to what you're making, that gives the best feeling to a musician on stage. Okay. So that's, I also analyze our songs beforehand, before we go on stage and see, okay, in this part, I think we can make a circle pit happen. Or at that point, that should be the point for all of that. That's all thought through. and that's how it works well with the crowd as well. Yeah.
Okay. So, well, you get a lot of energy from performing live, but if there was one stage in the entire world that you could choose to perform at, which would it be?
Oh, in the entire world, well, let's start with Europe, because if we reach European stages, we're doing good already, I think. Can I name two?
Okay, you can name two then.
So I'm going to go for one Belgian one and one
Okay.
international one.
Yes.
A Belgian one, well, we got the taste of Alcatraz already. We played at a small stage at noon there, but I've seen what they have out there as well. And there's this huge marquee, the Swamp stage. A lot of local bands are still playing at Alcatraz. That's why we respect them so much. They really take an effort of inviting Belgian bands to go on stage. If you can make it to the Swamp stage there in the marquee, I think you've made it on Belgian soil as a metal band. Internationally, I really fell in love with the Summer Breeze Festival. They have this nice, the only covered stage, let's say, the Vera Tool stage is called. So it's the only indoorish stage at that festival, but it has a very cozy setting with nice lights. If you can play there, like when the sun goes down or right after nightfall, that would be the dream.
Okay.
On an international level, yeah.
Okay, great. So thanks for joining us today and for getting to know you a little bit better.
My pleasure. Thank you.